Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling something a bit different. Forget the usual academic sources for a moment. We're actually plunging into a language lesson.
Yeah, an English lesson specifically.
Right. And our mission really is to pull out the core strategies it offers for gaining, real conversational confidence.
Especially for moving beyond just textbook English.
Exactly. It's like going behind the scenes of fluency. Less about just rules and lists, more about how you can actually sound natural, feel authentic when you speak. We're digging for those practical gems.
And what's interesting about this source, this lesson, is its approach. It's structured around a pretty simple, relatable chat.
Right, between these two characters, Mia and Leo.
Yeah.
Just catching up.
Yeah. And then the lesson cleverly breaks down parts of their conversation, points out key phrases, and it really pushes you, the learner, to get involved.
Through repetition, practice challenges,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
It's almost like getting a guided tour of a real English conversation as it happens. And what's really insightful, I think, is how it prioritizes using the language right away. It's much less about theory and much more about actually getting comfortable in everyday situations.
So for you listening, this deep dive should give you some really actionable techniques, things you can use pretty much immediately to boost your confidence.
And not just in learning English, right? These ideas could apply to lots of things where clear communication matters.
Okay, so let's get into it. One of the first things that really jumps out is the lesson's focus on real conversation. It's saying, don't worry so much about perfect textbook sentences. Aim for the kind of English native speakers actually use.
Precisely. It's about making that shift, isn't it? From maybe a more formal academic English to the fluid, sometimes messy way people really talk.
And we see that right away with Mia and Leo.
Yeah, when they bump into each other.
Exactly. Mia doesn't say, greetings, Leo. It has been a significant interval since our last encounter.
No, definitely not.
She says, hey, Leo, I haven't seen you in forever. How have you been? Much more natural.
And Leo responds in kind, Mia, wow, it's been ages. I've been good, just busy with work and life, It's that relaxed, friendly vibe.
You often don't get that just from grammar books.
And that really underlines, I think, a core idea here. Fluency isn't just about knowing words. It's built by practicing, by getting comfortable with the rhythm of these everyday chats.
Like learning to dance. You need to feel the music, not just know the steps.
That's a great way to put it, yeah. It's about internalizing that flow.
And the lesson helps by zooming in on some of these really common natural phrases.
Yeah, it decodes them, basically.
Well, like, it's been ages. The lesson clarifies that just means it's been a long time. Simple.
Or, life's been nonstop, which is just a very common way to say you've been incredibly busy, like no breaks.
Practical building block.
Definitely. Tangible tools you can use straight away.
And I like the explanation of grab coffee, just a casual way to say meet for coffee.
It's those little nuances, yeah. They make a big difference in sounding natural.
And then it strongly encourages repeating these phrases out loud. Why is that repetition so important? It seems basic.
Well, it's more than just memorizing. It's like building muscle memory for your mouth.
Okay.
By actually saying the phrases, you're training yourself physically to make the sounds, to get the rhythm right. It becomes more automatic. You internalize the act of speaking them.
That makes sense. And speaking of practical advice, there's that bit where Leo talks about learning Spanish.
Oh, yeah, that was interesting.
He says, honestly, speaking every day helps me the most. Even just 10 minutes. No pressure, just practice.
That no pressure part is key, I think.
It really stands out.
It highlights how consistent, small efforts can be, well, often more effective than maybe big, stressful study sessions that you only do occasionally.
Like making it a habit.
Exactly. Like brushing your teeth, you just do it. And Mia sort of backs this up with her own approach to English, right? Repeating short phrases, shadowing native speakers.
Finding manageable ways to practice regularly. That whole no pressure, just practice thing feels a bit counterintuitive, maybe. We often think we need to push really hard.
Yeah, but this suggests a gentler, steady approach might actually get you further long term, which kind of leads into the next point about mistakes.
Yes. Embracing mistakes.
Leo says mistakes are part of the journey. If you're speaking, you're already winning.
That feels quite liberating, doesn't it?
Totally. It reframes errors. They're not failures. They're just feedback, part of the process.
The lesson even repeats that idea. If you're speaking, you're already winning. What's powerful about that reframing?
Well, I think it tackles the fear factor head on.
Right. So many people hold back because they're scared of messing up.
But this flips it. It says the act of trying, even imperfectly, is the win. It values the effort, the participation, over immediate perfection.
Yeah. Getting started is the victory.
Precisely. And this connects to the actual techniques the lesson pushes. We mentioned repetition.
And shadowing. Following and imitating native speakers.
Right. How do you think shadowing helps specifically?
Well, it seems like it's more than just pronunciation, right? You'd pick up on intonation,
Yeah.
the rhythm, the sort of music of the language.
Exactly. Things that are really hard to grasp just from reading. You're developing an ear for it.
Learning the melody, yeah.
Great analogy. And then there's that no pressure practice again. By lowering the stakes, it makes the whole thing less anxious, maybe more enjoyable.
Which probably makes you stick with it longer.
Mm-hmm. And that ties into that mindset phrase the source highlights.
I'm not perfect, but I'm improving.
Yeah. That feels like a really healthy attitude for any kind of learning.
It acknowledges progress isn't always, a straight line. It's okay not to be perfect right away.
It encourages a bit of self-compassion, too. Learning is tough. This mindset helps you focus on moving forward, not getting stuck on setbacks.
The lesson is also really direct about speaking out loud. Every single day.
Yeah, it presents that as almost non-negotiable for fluency.
Why is speaking aloud so critical, do you think? More than just reading or listening.
Because it's active. You have to actually retrieve the words, build the sentences in real time. It's much more demanding.
You notice where you struggle.
Exactly. You find the gaps. Maybe you know a word but stumble saying it, or a sentence structure feels awkward. It's that active production that builds real speaking skill.
And then it gets even more practical with those challenges.
Like the one asking you to pick 3 phrases.
Say them aloud and try to use one in a real conversation.
Yeah, it's pushing for immediate application. Active recall, putting it into practice, that's vital.
And the mini role play exercise does that too, right? Gives you a safe space to try it out.
Mm-hmm. A structured scenario to actually use the phrases in a mock conversation builds confidence for the real thing.
So wrapping it all up, the lesson really drives home this connection. Speak more, feel more confident, be more consistent, improve faster.
Right. It shifts the focus. Perfect grammar right now isn't the main goal. Practice. Using real phrases, that's the key.
Communication first, perfection later.
Basically, yeah, that final message, speak it, live it, make it yours. It really emphasizes that language learning is an active, ongoing thing.
Okay, so let's recap the main takeaways from this deep dive into the lesson. We've seen the importance of focusing on real, actual conversations.
Understanding and practicing those natural, everyday phrases people use.
And the power of consistent small efforts, that 10 minutes a day idea.
Embracing mistakes, not as failures, but as essential learning steps.
And the absolute need to practice speaking out loud regularly.
And, stepping back, these principles aren't just about learning English, are they?
No, that's a really good point. This focus on active practice, applying things in the real world, that growth mindset.
It's valuable for learning pretty much any new skill.
Definitely. So a final thought for you, the listener.
Yeah.
How could you bring more active speaking or active doing and real-world application into whatever you're learning right now?
Yeah, what are the real conversations or the real-world equivalents you can start having in your own field, your own area of development?
It really boils down to taking what you learn and actively putting it into practice, doesn't it? Making it yours.